Madenburg, and then we walked over to the city hall downtown, and I met this charming young woman here that you see on your screen. She is the representative of the sister cities, Magdeburg. And she's showing me here they have an installation in their city hall of all of the sister city for each of their sister cities. And this is one of Nashville's installations here. See the city seal here. And then here's another installation from Nashville. And these are the gifts over here that the city of Nashville presented to Magdeburg. And this installation is in the room where the photo exhibit will be at the city hall. Now they're going to have it at the city hall and at the library in two different places, but this is one of the places where they will have the exhibit up. And I just thought I'd show you a couple of pictures of the space. This is the space where the exhibit will be. There's our host hiding behind a plant there. And then this is a look at the second floor window from the city hall. And they also have an installation out front of the city hall of the distances to all the various sister cities of Magdeburg around the world. And let's see here. Okay. So yeah, this was earlier when we were walking around. This is the Magdeburg's main cathedral. It's pretty impressive. It was opened in 1363 is when it opened. So it's so it was pretty impressive. So this is that night, and this is that night we went to have I went to their Stammtisch, which is a German term basically meaning for a bunch of people with a common interest get around a dinner table and talk about their common interests. So this is the Magdeburg photo Stammtisch, and we had some pretty good Bavarian food that night. And this is Anya here, who was my host, and this is another photographer, Frank Padel, and the two of them took me around the next day on a trip to Quedlinburg, which is where Anya is from, and it's one of these. You'll see here one of these. It's what people think of when people think of an old German city. So I did not bring any digital images back for me that they produced for the show. I think they're still working on picking those. They did show me some basically 4x5 prints, and there's some, from what I can tell from a 4x5 print, it looks like there's some pretty good stuff in there. But unfortunately, I don't have any digital images to show you from them yet that they shot in Magdeburg on May the 13th. But maybe next month we can do that. This is the next day in Quedlinburg. Frank shot this, and I thought I got to looking at this photograph this afternoon. I was pretty impressed by the depth of field with that. You see the two of us are totally in focus, but the coffee cup sitting in front of us is completely out of focus. Of course, the background is out of focus, and I need to ask him how he managed that in broad daylight. So then Frank, I didn't know this at the time. He was shooting pictures of me the whole time I was walking around shooting pictures of Quinlanburg. So there's me shooting the Quinlanburg cathedral, and it's really beautiful. And then we walked around the town. We walked up the hill to the castle, and there's a street shot of Quinlanburg there, and there, and some more detail shots. Now this is we walk up a rather steep hill to the where the castle is, up on top of a hill. So we were looking down on the rest of the city. So that's where I shot these images here. And this is back in the cathedral. I thought this cross was very creative. I'd never seen a cross like that before. And with these old cathedrals in Europe, they're essentially under a constant state of repair and renovation. So there's always some kind of repair going on. There's that cross. And then Anya and Frank gifted me this exhibit catalog. They were both involved in an exhibit last year that basically was a photographic, I guess, examination of the pandemic, what they as photographers were doing and were up to during the pandemic, which I thought was an interesting echo of one of the shows that we did here in Nashville. And this is Frank's page here with some of his work. And this is Anya's page with a couple of her images that were in the show. So I think that's all I have. Like I said, we haven't gotten their images yet, but we should get them shortly. I would say within the next couple of weeks, we should
Wayne,
have those.
That looks great. You want to just stop sharing?
Okay. Okay.
And so many questions and so many. What a great trip! We could.
Yeah, it was fun.
Thanks for sharing all that.
Sure.
And I want to take this opportunity to thank you for all you've done to pull this day in the life together. I mean, who knew you were going to go to Germany too, on top of everything?
Well, thank you.
So,
It's been fun.
and we're speaking of timelines here. Emily Neff thinks it'll be early July before she's able to make her selections, which is fine. Because do we have a venue yet, Wayne? Or
Not that I know of. I think Sister Cities Nashville was working on the downtown library and the historic courthouse, similar to what the Magdeburg folks had arranged, but I haven't heard back that anything has been nailed down.
well, we'll have plenty of lead time.
Yeah. It's not till the show is not till September, so
Yeah.
we should have plenty of time.
All right. So I see that it's about 6:45, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen. I encourage everybody to get a pencil and paper and take notes. Seriously, or maybe you can remember things. Maybe you don't need to do that. I'm going to show you everything sort of in a grid. We'll go kind of slowly, but just so you get a sense of all 144 photos. And we gathered up sort of like maybe questions that you have when you see these photos, stories that you're seeing, anything that jumps out at you. We'll just briefly talk about all the 144. Then we're going to go and do like the first 3 hours, the next 3 hours. We're going to do chunks of time, because these are organized by time and not by photographer. So let me share my screen. Are there any questions about what we're doing? Okay, everybody's on mute, which is great, but when we get to the discussion, we're going to go crazy and take off the mutes. Now, this is you can see sort of 8 at a time. And you see, if you look down here, this was at 6:12 a.m., 6:14, 6:60. So we got stuff starting early in the morning. So let me know if I go too fast. The point of this was just for y'all to get a sense of all the kinds of photos that people were doing.
Yeah. Oh. Mhm. Oh. Mhm. 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 Yeah.
All right. I'm going to briefly stop share so that everybody can feel like we're in a room with each other. And what I wonder what jumped out at you when you saw that 144 photos. Response? What response?
I'm glad that I don't have to choose.
Yeah, yes. Yes.
All I could say was, wow, there were
Wow.
some really good pictures.
Yeah.
I saw places that I am not familiar with and didn't see much in the way of neighborhoods that are, my kind of place.
Uh-huh. There was a variety of locations, but it wasn't necessarily the Nashville that some of us know. Yeah. I was struck by the fact that we collectively have almost many genres, not really abstract, but that is not surprising for the thing. But there's cityscapes, sort of landscapes, portraits, people, moments, street, architecture. It was a wide variety of approaches.
I also noticed there was 2 pictures that were kind of similar. Hattie
Yeah.
B's.
Yeah.
The only reason I noticed it, I took one of them.
Okay. Well, that happens more frequently than you would think.
Yeah.
That people, and honestly, there was one exhibit where 2 photographers submitted photos from Seattle that were almost identical.
Mhm.
They were
Wow.
framed slightly differently, but it's just.
There are also 2 photographs in this of Ooey Barbecue out on Jefferson Street. I took one of those. Yeah, and they're completely different photographs, but they're essentially of the same place. Mhm.
And there were views of the city there were a couple of views of the city that were similar. So some of that we'll talk about at the end of the thing, but I've heard jurors say that when there's 2 photos and they love both of them, sometimes it comes down to which one is technically more, doesn't have some kind of crazy halo thing happening, or it isn't over processed, whatever the juror cares about. So that's always interesting too. All right, well, look, I'm gonna anything else?
I was interested in how many were turned to black and white and how many were left as color.
Yeah. And what the choices are, why people make those choices, and how that works. That's a great thing to look at. All right, we're going to now look at the first 33. I tried to do sort of natural places to make a break, and it wasn't necessary. We're going to have some things that maybe where you would make the break, but I thought it'd be better to have it in chunks. Now, when we're looking at these chunks, I'm going to pull up each individual picture and again, kind of be looking at it, if you can, appreciate them individually, but kind of look at them as a set too. Whoops, that one went too much. There we go. Let's see. Now, that should be about as full screen as I can get it. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
It looks like my screen sharing got paused for some reason. What are you all seeing?
Just the first picture of the truck.
Just the first picture, yeah.
That's my picture, and it was over 12th Avenue, across from the park.
I noticed the partially dead bush over here from the cold last winter. So it's partially brown and partially green.
I'm gonna stop share and start again and see if that stops this problem. Hang on. Okay, because why Zoom? Come on.
What are you trying to accomplish?
I'm trying to let you see all the photos and it was on,
Oh, and you were just seeing one.
yes, because it bulked up. So hang on, let's see.
Look at that look right there. Hmm.
All right, maybe. All right, here we go. There's the first one. Now y'all are seeing the second one, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Oh, see, it doesn't like full screen. That's pausing it again.
Don't do that.
That's interesting. Okay, sorry. Share screen. Hang on.
Yeah, the way you had it is big enough. It'll be fine.
Okay.
So don't worry about going to full screen if it's going to
Mhm.
cause an issue.
If we have to
Yeah.
do this every time, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so now there's our second photo. Oh my Lord have mercy. Okay. It's hard for me not to be having a running commentary. Are y'all having running commentary in your head?
They exercise.
Doesn't this look different than the little thumbnail when you can see in the windows, for example?
Right.
Great color match there. Love this one.
Yeah. Oh, early in the morning, 6:30, here comes our birds. So this is certainly not on the beaten path. The Chamber of Commerce wouldn't necessarily be. And this looks so different from the thumbnail, doesn't it? You see that little squirrel?
Mhm.
Now here's a good classic. But something's happening in front of it. Oh, okay.
Love that.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Y'all can see the titles too, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I recognize the red bows also.
Yeah, yeah.
I like the red bow and the red lights.
Mm-hmm,
No,
mm-hmm.
no.
Mhm. No.
So this is a little topical, really, when this is a clear moment in Nashville.
Is that breakfast?
Yep, yep. Classic.
Read the title, I can tell.
the previous was a good use of space. The way it was.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, don't you want to talk about each of them? I'm so sorry that we're not in person and passing these around, but isn't it great? I'm sorry, to see the whole range.
Like that one.
All right, there's our stopping point.
Okay.
So that's from 6:12 in the morning to 9:05 in the morning, about 3 hours, about 30 some odd photos. So talk about this set. What are you seeing in this first set? What's going on? What?
To me, it was the quiet hours of Saturday morning in Nashville, people
Mhm.
are getting ready for the day, getting ready for work, or working, starting to work, depending on what their job is, having breakfast, all that. I thought that was really, it captured that preparation, so to speak.
Mhm. Mhm.
I like that turn of phrase, the quiet hour could even be the caption that goes with it.
Mhm. Mhm.
How many groups are there? How many groups do you end up with, Emily?
I'm doing 4 chunks.
So basically, we're talking about, as a theoretical issue, about 5 out of each group.
Well, I hadn't thought about that. Let's see, isn't she picking 24?
Well, all right,
So 6.
5 to
And it'll
6.
be interesting to see if the whole day is represented in what she picks. You all are beginning to get a little sense of how the juror has to think about
Mhm.
what goes together.
Yeah,
And
that's
what's
one
story.
of the reasons why I organized the photographs in exact chronological order, because I wanted her to be able to see the flow through the day and hopefully to pick photographs throughout the entire day and not lumped in one particular time of the day.
So time is one thing that's different here, and also space. What part of town is it? So we're getting a variety of glimpses of what's going on a Saturday morning.
Mhm.
Okay, any questions people have at this point for any of the photographers, or should we hold those? I just think this is brilliant. All right. That's my little editorial comment. Now, we're going to now go from 9 in the morning till 12 noon, more or less.
Wait a minute, you missed one. You missed one.
Wow. No, that was mine. I showed that in the
No, I don't. Oh, okay.
You showed that in the last one, so
yeah.
It's nice.
East Nashville.
Beautiful portrait.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, I just saw that you've got that fish in his,
Maybe it's the other way around.
or the other way around, yeah.
That's
Mhm.
Where is
Wow, I
that?
mean, but
Where is that?
is that the Tennessee State
Inside the-
Museum?
Yeah, Tennessee State Museum.
Yeah, nice.
It's also interesting, and I'll hold that thought. Y'all keep holding your thoughts.
Uh, hmm.
All right, so it is now 12:16. A good time to break. Diane, I probably should have done these by rows, but so here's what we just looked at. And y'all be thinking, what do we see going on with these photos?
You know, what's interesting to me is the difference in color palette. And it's not just an issue of what colors. It's either post-processing or how the camera is taking the picture. Very, 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 very different.
Interesting, yes.
Also, I want to add, I think the content is stronger than the time of day.
Oh, yes, yes. Elaborate.
Well, there was sort of this theoretical idea that, oh, we have these chunks of time and we'll see the city, you know, waking up and going through its life cycle. But the picture, the individual pictures and collectively in the sections just seem to be more powerful for their content, that it doesn't matter to me if it was taken at 8 in the morning or noon.
Yep, see exactly what you're saying.
Some people just
Or
wake
Bob, you know, it didn't.
Yeah, like some of these images here, like these along the top row there, look like they could have been taken at 10 o'clock at night instead of with 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I agree.
Will the juror be given any criteria for their selection, or is it just completely on their own?
Pretty much we let the juror use their own sensibility. Particularly for something like this that, you know, sometimes we'll have a theme. And so they pick things that they feel like goes with that theme, like perspective or,
Mhm.
but this one is just a day in the life of Nashville. So that's pretty broad.
Okay, thank you.
Now, I like how you arranged the builders. You got the sky pool next to the lake pool. You know, I mean, those
Yeah.
well paired.
Coincidental, of course, but well paired.
You know, and one of the things that we see here, just right here on this stretch, here the juror will more than likely, if they pick Radnor Lake photos, there's a bunch of Radnor Lake photos. And so it would be unusual for the juror to pick more than one. I don't know, that could happen. But it's kind of interesting to see which of these might be picked, you know, and then we've got several that have the wildlife against like that bird and this bird, and you know, you've got several given that mood. You've got a lot of festivities. So yeah, the subject matter is going to be really important too. And then the color treatment, you're right, Diane.
Go back up, go back up one level. The farm one is
Farmer's Market, this one?
the second on the second from the left on the top.
Uh-huh.
That's really a different color scheme than the one below it, for example.
Yes, yes.
Are any of these film?
Hey, Diane, the one that says farm, it was Farmer's Market. It was such an ugly gray morning. And I loved the bluegrass. And so I kind of and I love the people sitting in the rockers. If you see up close, she's got her hand tapping and the mom's kind of dancing along with her little girl. And I wanted to kind of have that a little more antique palette to it. So
I like the antique palette.
I like
Very
it.
nicely.
I agree.
yeah, and I worried about messing with it because was that day in a life, but I did it anyway.
I love hearing your thought process on that, Joe.
but it was kind of a rainy day too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Off and on.
There
Rain
was a
season.
great rain photo. Oh my gosh, I hope that gets in. That rain photo I love.
Yeah.
I missed it.
It's right over on the, it's on
Two
the top.
more.
Yeah.
It's the school kids all in their rain gear.
Oh, I thought you said rainbow.
No. Rain photo, no.
Oh,
Yeah.
here, yes, yes. And then we've got puddle. I mean, yeah, it was a day.
Yeah. It-
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
it rained just for
abstract.
like a couple of hours in the morning. You know,
Emily,
and then it kind of cleared off.
enlarge the rain one, please.
The day before was so rainy, I went out and tried to scout out some places and had all kinds of rain gear. Glad not to need it. Yeah, the different, so somebody spoke earlier about the people using black and white, monochrome versus color, and even within the color, we see different different treatments, vivid versus muted. All right, we're going to do our next batch here. And again, Keith, good point. This is the subject's not so much, but it just seemed like a good way to break them into manageable chunks. And oh, I did want to say, one of the things that I noticed going through these was the power. Let's see if I can find an example. The power of 1 minute you're seeing a bunch of like activity, action, busy, and then the next there's some more serene scene.
Quiet.
That's quiet. I feel like the range of things is I guess what I'm commenting on. The range of things. And when we came across this one after these busy ones, this one was just like, oh, good deep breath. And then, whoa, got the, do y'all feel yourselves reacting to these, responding to these in some kind of visceral way? I guess is my question. Some of it is, you know, maybe more visceral than others. All right, next batch. Maybe. Here we go.
I like the title and the label on the record says Johnny's newest, you know?
Right. Yep.
Johnny Mathis did a bunch. Is that Rhino?
Yep. Rhino Bookshop.
Sylvan Park.
That's great.
Oh, no, I did barbershops over the last couple of years, and I did this one on Jefferson Street, and somebody removed a lot of trash.
Kind of cleaned up their act for them, huh?
I love JB's Barbershop. I've got a couple there too that I love. I didn't clean up the trash. And JB was sitting outside with the guitar, which anyway.
Mm.
I do like that shot. Just for the activity.
Yeah, I like that one where you have a person going on their daily life and yet it's within them, you know, with the icon in the background, so to speak. I like that.
I'm sorry, I'm over here eating blueberries and dropping them, so be patient with. Hmm. I didn't mean that. I'll quit eating blueberries, then I can concentrate more.
Very Nashville.
Mhm.
I do like that.
Unfortunately, the photographer's in it. And I do
Oh.
hate that.
Sometimes it cannot be avoided, Diane.
I just didn't see that one coming.
I mean, some of this is that really Nashville? I mean, I'm like, haven't seen some of these.
That's Loveless.
I like that.
Mm.
Claire.
I have a mirror challenge
I love the
coming.
title of this one. So wait, they grill it and then fry it? No. So this is a breaking point. I felt so what are y'all thinking now? We've seen a whole nother, we've now seen three-fourths of the photos. So are you adjusting some of your thoughts? Are you adding, what's jumping out at you now?
Things look busier. There's more stuff going on. People at work.
Mhm.
Well, Emily, you presented it like it was gonna be a story from the morning to the night, but it strikes me it's more like listening to an album. Each individual song's interesting, but collectively it's, the Beatles' White Album, even though they're both individual and then they add up to something.
That's a good point, Keith. That is really what this is, isn't it? It's not a continuing story. There's not a clear through thread, but there are moments. And so far, are you feeling like we're getting a sense of like the balance between ordinary life and outsiders' impressions of Nashville? Is it?
This section has a lot more people in it than the previous two, and so you feel like there's neighborhoods. I mean, someone had a fun day at the barber shop there.
Uh-huh. Well, you can tell this isn't Germany. Again, we've
Well,
got
interestingly, one of the other city that I visited when I was in Germany is Regensburg, and they also have a replica of the Parthenon.
oh,
It's called Valhalla, and it sits up on a hill, and it contains it contains busts of the greats from German culture and politics and literature and art.
that is interesting.
Mhm.
All right, let's see where we left off with the Hattie B's. So here's our last batch, and we'll look at it as an album, not necessarily a movie. Here we go.
Okay.
Any day in the life. So, what's the time period on this batch?
This is it started at 4:39 p.m. goes through 10:30 p.m. So right now we're at 5:41. This is military time.
I have to tell you, I am shocked that I have a copyright there. I never put that on. I don't understand where that came from.
Oh, over here, yeah.
Yes, I am beyond shocked.
Well,
They're on several of them, Diane.
So how could that have happened?
Do you have an export preset or something that puts it on there?
I wonder if that's what happened. I'm not real good at that. I'm so sorry. Golly, golly, golly,
No
golly.
worries.
Golly, golly, golly. I will check that. Yep, all of them.
Magic. So there was a hoodoo festival, whatever that is.
It was out in Madison.
Yeah. Some of these have so much to look at. I feel like I'm rushing things, but
Is the other one of the ooey barbecue.
mhm. So that's the last batch. I'll let us look at it again. This is the first time that it occurred to me that the juror is going to have to think about the difference between an art show to be shown here and an art show to be shown in Germany.
What do you mean, Emily?
I think people, I don't know, I think what I mean by that is everything here is fair game for an art show here. It's our city and it's looking at it from different perspectives and different angles, and we're not trying to like have a conclusion about Nashville, but if you send photos overseas and it's in the city hall, do you
It's
have,
representation. We're representing our city and the juror is selecting what we represent, so to speak.
so that's more of a thinking of what Germany people would want to see, what Nashville would want Germany to see. Maybe.
The juror is kind of a world traveler. I mean, I think she will take all that into consideration and still pick the best that covers both worlds.
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't approach it that way at all. I would not approach it in a way of what do I want Sister City to see. What I would approach it at is what is authentic Nashville.
That would be one, what is authentic?
And I think ultimately what you wind up with is when we see the Magdeburg photographs and the Nashville photographs together, you might be able to pick out on some of them which city the photograph was taken, but a lot of them you might not be able to.
So will the commonality of humanity
Right,
is
exactly.
actually one of the missions of Sister City.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think again, I don't know which images our jury is going to pick and what approach that she's going to take, but my impression from looking at they did show me those 4x6s, and there were a lot of this is Magdeburg, like street scenes and similar to ours, but I think there were a lot less up close and personal pictures of individual people. At least that was the impression I came away with.
I felt like those were some of the strongest photos.
Yeah.
Germany has pretty tight laws on that.
What'd you say, Diane?
Germany has maybe the tightest laws on taking pictures of people and getting their
Oh,
as any country in the world. And I would guess that causes German photographers to not move in too close.
uh-huh. Well, what a challenge for our juror. Once again, I feel like they always have a big challenge. What did you all think about seeing all of these, the whole shebang of the 144 that were submitted? What did you?
Really liked it a lot. I'm really glad that we got to see the things we don't usually get to see.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we had to do it all.
Yeah, I agree. I've enjoyed seeing what people have submitted, and it would be really interesting to see what the juror chooses, and a lot of fun to see and hear her thinking behind it.
Mhm.
And I want to especially express appreciation to you, Emily and Wayne, for your work on pulling this together so we could see it.
and Joe. Joe
City ovation for you
Right.
both.
And Joe.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it is. I feel like it's hard to put. I guess I'm hoping somebody can help put the finger on what is so valuable about seeing this whole thing. I always enjoy it, but that's just sort of like you're saying, Susan, it's very and Keith, seeing the whole realm gives me actually an appreciation for what people are doing, but it also, in a way, may influence what I'm doing. I don't know.
Well,
Or
it's a-
what I'm
it's a-
submitting, or
Yeah, it's a true joint project between all of us, as opposed to a bunch of individual photographers submitting. You know, um, it's a joint project. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that shows when you look at all the images together.
Because, you know, even when we do a theme, it's across a smaller, or it's across a different spectrum. And this is, you know, quote unquote, our home for the most part. And how we see, and then also spreading out and going to areas we don't usually go to see a new kind of Nashville. So it was kind of a learning experience. I felt like it was very interesting, and loved seeing again all the different takes from different areas by different photographers, even where it overlapped.
yes, yes.
Yeah, I felt like I stretched myself. I don't usually take a lot of pictures of people up close. That's not what I normally do. And I also don't normally go over to Jefferson Street and Gallatin Road and shoot pictures. So I felt like it was a stretching and a learning experience for me. And I appreciate the folks that suggested that we make an effort to go to different places in Nashville that we don't normally haunt, and try to get some a wider representation. I think that was a good idea.
You know, those are excellent points about we were doing this collectively, and not in a it was a collective group effort, and maybe we need to find some way to do that maybe every year, whether it's for a sister city exchange or not, but have some kind of, it's different than a photo walk. When we meet and walk and do a area together, that's good. But just to have, and maybe we do that, but this,
Do you want to try in 6 months, a day in the life, only it'll be in the winter instead of the summer?
oh,
Then
that's a
just for
choice.
us, just for ourselves.
Yeah. Carl, what do you think?
Oh, gonna make sure I'm unmuted. Sounds good to me. I'd be willing to try it again. Maybe I won't have to work that day.
Yeah, we should have come to the library and gotten pictures of you to include.
But yeah, and I think you had suggested, Emily, working with a different sister city in the future. You know, Nashville has, I don't know how many sister cities we have, but we have them all over the world. And maybe in the future we could work on a similar project with just a different city.
Oh, I think so. And I thought it was very cute of the Germans to have that post with the directions as to where each of the sister cities are.
Yeah, yeah.
Hanging outside their city hall. I think it's a great idea to copy once we get enough sister cities.
Well, I appreciate this opportunity to share, and it was interesting to hear what you all had to say, and I'm really looking forward to what Emily Neff has to say in our regular critique session. We'll have this good background information, which she was fair. This was fine with her for us to be doing this, by the way. I don't know that all jurors would love to have everybody looking over their shoulder, like in a way we're doing here, but she was great with it, and we just appreciate Emily a lot, and I appreciate you all for participating, and I'll turn it back over to Carl to close this out.
All right. Can anybody hear me out there?
Yep.
Okay. So I'll start working on next month to see if we can do the Parthenon. Try to do it. So let's look forward to that next month. I think that's everything. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Wayne, for pulling this together. Great job.
Thank you.
Night, everyone.
Good night.
Right.